Just to breathe. Sometimes I need you to stay away from me. Sometimes I'm in disbelief. I didn't know. Somehow I need you to go.
Greetings, nation. This is the Concert Cruiser, and I was an OG LP Underground soldier. And I'm here to tell you about my time in this fan club. From my journey to my departure to what brought me back. Now, a few things before we begin. Number one, this is just my experience. If you had a different one, you are more than welcome to upload your own video. Two, it's important for everyone to remember that the internet and technology was not at where it is now. So things like smartphones, YouTube, social media, Wikipedia, none of this was where it's at right now. So because of that, documentation is limited, and I will try to do the best evidence that I can. 3, I will be talking about Linkin Park's music at some point. I can't guarantee that I won't go on a rant, but their decisions affected my decisions. And 4, I do have a couple of cats roaming around here, so you'll probably hear some meows, or maybe even see them come out the window here and there throughout the video. And with that out of the way, let me first start off by saying that back then, it was a great time to be a fan. I can honestly say that the LP Underground was one of the few fan clubs where the members got spoiled by the band. I joined right at year 3. They actually did special events for their fan club members. They did members-only shows. They did events like the music video for Faint. All those people you saw in the crowd, those were LP Underground members. That was a video strictly for them. They did online chats with their fan club, and I actually got to participate in one. I did one with their bassist, but he left pretty early. But then Chester did one a few weeks later, and for that one, he actually did answer my question. But it's been way more than a few years, so I can't really remember. All I know is that it has something to do with his side projects. And they still do meet and greets at virtually every single show. There was even perks that I'm not quite sure how many people were aware of. Like, you actually got your own @linkinpark.com email address. And it was actually pretty cool at first. Then that thing became a spam magnet. I would actually use it as a regular inbox, but then I would get these replies from things that I don't remember sending for. Like, it'll say, reply, order confirmed. Now, I'm pretty sure for most of you people, you can picture yourself maybe getting a bit buzzed and making a purchase that wasn't really necessary, but you were under the influence. And then you would go click on it, and it would go, elbow deep in Asians. How big do you want to be? Like, oh, God. Now, and the thing is that I don't know if someone just had some spam software that was just actually finding all of us, or if it's because other members were actually signing other members up for email lists that they did not want. Because all you had to do was put the person's email address then @linkinpark.com and submit it to any naughty website that's out there. So that was cool at first, but then they seem to have done away with that since then. But the one thing where there was a lot of fan interaction, at least amongst other members, was the forums. My God, there was so many forums. There were so many different threads about different topics and subjects. The band, the underground art contest, individual band members, what you were doing, projects you were working on. I even remember there was someone who was making a Linkin Park remix album, and he wanted other members to join in and submit their recordings. And I actually did, and he said that I was one of the best people he heard, but sadly the project fell through. But the one thread that I spent the most amount of time in was the trading post. Originally, the trading post was meant for fan club members to swap shirt sizes that didn't fit anymore, but the fans, they took it one step further. They were trading Linkin Park swag with each other. Yeah, swag they collected at concerts or from the street team, because Linkin Park made sure that the fan club and the street team were two completely different entities. They did not want them coming together. So, because if you were to talk about them on the forums, your comment or your thread would be deleted. There was even a moment where I asked about it, and I was given a pretty hard time about it. But yeah, it's water under the bridge. Although I did ask one of the admins to delete it for me. I can't remember the person's name, but their profile was a GIF of someone jumping on one of those small trampolines. Does anybody know who I'm talking about here? Are they still with the underground? If so, let me know in the comments. With the trading post, people were collecting the swag. I actually used to collect the stuff myself. There were people who were trading like the faint sticker cards, the various flyers for different Project Revolutions, and stickers from across the Linkin Park, the street team, and people were even forming friendships with other members throughout this forum. Hey Baxter. And it was really amazing because this was really the first instance of social media. And after weeks of waiting, I finally got my LP Underground package. I still have it to this day. It's kind of hard to part with your very first one. Now, some of you may notice that there's an item missing in here, and I will get to that soon. But, my god. Again, like I said, we got spoiled. Like, this was the welcome letter that you would get. I actually have it here in this plastic sleeve because I do not want this thing to get ruined. You got this shirt, of course. You got, let's see here. I don't know if anybody actually used these, but it was still pleasant to have as part of your collection. These postcards. I could never bear to actually use any of these. I don't think anybody ever could. You got one of those. You got one of those window cling stickers. You got a regular Linkin Park Underground sticker. And this is, and like I said, this is the year 3 package. You got this interesting coupon for DC shoes, which I never used. I am just not a shoe person. I don't get why people are so hyped up about it, because they're going to get dirty. They're on your feet. Okay, don't be fooled by anybody. Let's see. There was this other random third window cling that was kind of floating around, but no one... I don't recall anybody who ever got it, and it was this one. It was only the paper here that's brown. The rest is not. But I actually had to find this on eBay to get. Oh, and by the way, I actually used to work for Walmart at the time, back before everything was a supercenter. And I remember seeing a customer with this in their back window. And I actually waited for that person to come out so I can say, hey, I'm a fellow member too. Let's see here. One of the more unique items, you could say it was useless, but it just kind of makes you feel like you belong. The membership card. This one, is cracked because it's been sitting in my wallet for so long. It does have my signature on the back, but I don't know if these things ever really came into use. But still, it was something that made you feel like you belonged. You got these little cute annual little pins here. They're tiny, but they're cute. You would also get these commemorative guitar picks. Blue was obviously the motif for some of this stuff for year 3. Try to get that there. But I don't know if they ever actually used these. I'm pretty sure, at least in concert, I'm pretty sure this was strictly for fan club members. Which again, pretty cool. It's something that was just for us. And let's see here. You, of course, had your CD with exclusive tracks. This, and I think for a lot of other members, this was the coolest thing you could get. Because remember, like I said, YouTube was not, at where it is now. And these tracks on here were for members only. And we're gonna come back to that in a minute here. Because there was some issues with quote-unquote exclusive tracks. Another interesting thing, and again, this will come into play later, was the annual newsletter. It was this cool little letter you would get that would have like interviews from the bands, like various quotes, people asking them questions and they would answer to them. But the cool thing about this is that almost every single one of them was a poster. And you got all this for $25, and that includes shipping. Now, adjusted for inflation, you're looking at $34.44 grand total. So at the time, that was a pretty sweet deal. And the one thing that everybody wanted so much was the meet and greets. For me, if a fan club does not offer that, it's not worth doing. Because you know what? This stuff, it's just material possessions. It's fun to collect, it's fun to have, but you can't take this stuff with you when you die. The one thing I would like to take with me when I die is the memory of meeting the band. So if they do not offer that, it is not worth joining. And normally the way it would work is that when a tour was about to start, you would get a pop-up when you log onto the website. Now, it used to be that people who did not make the band already get first privileges. When you joined, there was actually a question they would ask you, like, have you met the band already? And you select yes or no. And it wasn't until after you made your selection that you would say, it would tell you that people who have not will get first dibs. And then right before the Hybrid Theory 2004 tour, they changed it to just meeting 50 to 100 people at random. Which, if I'm being honest here, that's actually more fair, because you have no way of knowing if the person just lied to you. So I was logging onto the website on one day, and I got the pop-up. There it was. I filled out the information, submitted it, and waited. It was very nerve-wracking. And the way they actually revealed it, you would think you would probably get an email or something. But no, they actually revealed it in the forums. They would actually tell, who made it. And I made the cut! I did it! I actually won a meet and greet pass! And I was so ecstatic, I was so thrilled, because, I've always wanted to go backstage at a concert and just see the inner workings of what it takes to put on a show. Now, sadly, that's not what happened, but it's still pretty awesome. And right before the meet and greets, Linkin Park was actually doing an interview that was right outside where the meet and greet was going to take place. And it was Chester and Rob who was doing the interview, and after that, they actually hanged around. Yeah, they actually said hello to a couple of fans, they actually took some pictures, signed some autographs. Talk about fan-friendly here. And when you got selected for a meet and greet, you would get your pass. And I've held on to mine all this time. I don't think I could ever part ways with something like this. And what did I take back with me to get signed? Remember I talked about that missing item from the package? Most fan club members would know that I was talking about a photo of the band that would come with your fan club package. And I've held on to it all these years. And I don't know if I could ever part with it. In fact, whenever my time comes, I may not sell it. I may donate it to maybe either the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or maybe the Orlando Hard Rock Cafe. Because, let's face it, Chester was an iconic singer. And it's probably better for something like this to get memorialized in a venue such as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or the Hard Rock Cafe. And I am a Floridian, I love the Orlando Hard Rock, and I'm pretty sure that they would love to have this in their collection. God, that was so cool. Oh, and there was one other thing that I snagged at that concert I forgot to mention. A Linkin Park Sharpie. One of the things that the rules said, and again, keep in mind about technology, everyone just had cheapo disposable cameras. And you were allowed to take pictures of the band, but not you with the band. Now, that wasn't anything personal. It's just because they do this right before they go on stage. And they have to get through all of this, and they gotta be quick. So I was actually, snapping pictures of the band, which you'll see here. And then I get to Chester. He's the last person at the very end of the line. And I go, is there any way I can get a picture with you? The security guard behind me hears this, goes, no, I'm sorry, you cannot do that. You just have to take a picture of him and go. But Chester wasn't having that. He took my camera, wound it up, stood next to me, and took the picture himself. Hashtag make Chester proud. I was on cloud 9 when that happened. I met one of the biggest bands in the world. And I got a picture of one of the best vocalists in metal. He was so good that even other music genres had to acknowledge it. I mean, you guys saw what happened after Chester sadly left us. There was so many people that spanned across the musical spectrum all paying their respects because he was that talented. God, it was so cool. And then Linkin Park takes the stage, and it was so incredible. And Mike made a special announcement saying that $5 off of every ticket was going to the Red Cross for relief for all the people who suffered in the hurricane. At least that was on the CD. I'm not entirely sure if he did that with every show, but that meant a lot because, like I said, I'm from Florida. I got family in Tampa, or at least I did at the time. And the fact that that money was going to help them, that touched me. And then they did that incredible cover of Nine Inch Nails' Wish. Oh my god, that gives me chills just thinking about it. Then suddenly, it's time for the last song, One Step Closer. And they surprise us with something else here. Jonathan Davis joins them on stage. I mean, Korn and Linkin Park, I mean, those were my bands. Okay, I fucking love nu metal. I still do. Everybody was wondering about the package for year 4. Everyone in the forums was going, oh man, are we going to get that cover of Wish? Do you think we're going to get that cover with Jonathan? Do you think we're going to get that version of One Step Closer with Jonathan Davis? Oh man, oh man, oh man. Like, everybody in the forums was freaking out about this. Like, how can they not put that on there for us? And one person said they went to an in-store signing of Linkin Park, and Chester confirmed that, yes, it was going to be on there. The package came out, and lo and behold, it was amazing. Oh my god. That cover just came out so good. I actually wish they would have tried covering Deftones' Shove It, because I did watch the DVD and I just didn't think it turned out so well. But if Linkin Park ever did a covers album, oh my god, I would have loved to hear that. And the stuff we got, again, was pretty awesome. I mean, this was what we got that year. And one of the cool things about those Linkin Park CDs, at least at the time, was these were enhanced CDs. Meaning if you actually put the CD in a CD-ROM drive, you would actually pull up bonus content. And we got a slew of like members-only merchandise in the official LPU store. And people were buying that stuff up left and right. It was so cool to have. And they're still doing that to this day. I would have loved to have gotten what you guys had available last year, but sadly, those are gone. Maybe they'll pop up on eBay someday. And I think it was around that time where Linkin Park actually did a t-shirt design contest. You could actually design your own shirt, and the winner design would be plastered on a shirt for sale in the LPU store. That was Linkin Park who started that. Now it's become pretty custom for virtually any band to do that, but they're the ones that Linkin Park started. They were ahead of the curve. And again, just all the fans rejoicing in the forum. I can't say enough. It was a great time to be a fan. Then it was time for Linkin Park's third album. And this is where they made the infamous decision to drop the nu metal sound. Now, a lot of us, including me, was worried about this because we fell in love with that sound. Like, what's going to happen here? Because those first two albums were fantastic. What's this going to be? But I think there was this mutual feeling or understanding of going, okay, you know what? We have not heard one clip. We have not heard 30 seconds of one track from this album. Let's just give it a rest. I mean, let's see how this thing turns out. Because, hey, it could be good. And lo and behold, it was. Sure, it wasn't the nu metal style that I would have preferred, but it was still a good album. So because the music was good, pretty much vibes in the air and the fan club were good. However, we noticed that Linkin Park was starting to get a little bit political. Now, internet outrage was nowhere near as bad back then as it is now. But we noticed that Linkin Park, like I said, was getting political here. Like when they congratulated Al Gore for winning a Nobel Peace Prize about his movie that basically prophesies the doom of global warming. Now, regardless of wherever you stand on that debate, I think we can safely admit that perhaps, maybe, it wasn't that bad. I've been hearing about global warming since 2003, and according to Al Gore's movie, we should have been underwater by now. I'm not saying it's not happening. It probably is. It might be man-made, but I don't think doomsday's right around the corner. So because of this, fans in the forums were starting to talk and starting to get a little bit political. There wasn't a huge divide just yet, but we kind of just noticed that something was up. Then suddenly it came time for year 5, and this is right when Linkin Park released their collab album with Jay-Z, Collision Course. Now, personally, that collab album didn't really do much for me, but we got the fan club package, and we noticed that the CD was basically tracks that we already had. See, here's the thing that we noticed about these CDs. They were supposed to be like exclusive songs and demos and whatnot, but we kept getting a bunch of live tracks on here. And sure, you can argue that it's a new live version of whatever song, but the issue is, after a certain point, it's the same song over and over again, just with slight tweaks. That's no longer impressive. Matter of fact, going back to this one, the exclusive tracks on here is that they basically took 5 songs from the Live in Texas album and gave them to the fans. Well, the problem with that is you can still hear and watch the live performances on the DVD. Remember, it was a CD-DVD combo, so they were still available for other people. It was just, you just had to, view it on a DVD. And fans were starting to feel a bit jipped because with year 5, it was basically just a live version of Collision Course. And when you bought the Collision Course album, it was also a CD-DVD combo. So you already had a live version of this. Why did we get another one? But however, I think there was, again, I can recall this vibe in the air from the forums of people saying, okay, you know what, I'm pretty sure they were just busy. Chester at the time was going through some personal matters. They finished their touring for Minutes to Midnight pretty fast. They had to pump out new content, and they gave us this. And I think everyone just kind of realized that, okay, they were probably just busy. They probably didn't have time to think of something better, so we got this. So, hey, let's just see what next year brings. There was this mutual understanding amongst soldiers about that. Then we got the year 6 package. Now, while the CD was definitely better, we had some really great exclusive tracks. That's where we got Announcement Service Public, 40 Live, Reading My Eyes Live. The package, however, shrunk. And you saw the bag I had to store it in. When year 6 started, you could fit everything in a bag this size. That's how small it got. And not to mention, things started becoming a bit more, I don't want to say generic, but not so special. Because look at the welcome letter. Now, some may say that this is just a Xerox sheet of paper. However, this feels more homemade. It feels like someone was sitting at a computer and was trying to figure out what to say to their fans. And they came up with this big long letter, printed it, and sent it to the people. By the time year 6 started, their welcome letter was basically starting to get reduced to this. Just a plain CD insert. And it feels so generic. I mean, sure, it does look better. I will grant them that. However, it feels like something you would just put in a CD booklet. It didn't really feel special. And not to mention, the case that the CDs came in. I mean, we originally had these fold-out CD cases, which included a bit of some welcome notes here for you. And, there was a plastic spindle that actually kept the CD safe. And it actually had a protective cover. The new CDs were starting to come in sleeves, like this. Just a little... That's it. Now, I'm not unreasonable. I do know that the price of petroleum and plastic was starting to go up, and it was actually just cheaper to do this. But I'll pay more for better quality. And this, there's no protection with this whatsoever. I expect something like this when it comes to, getting a tour sampler. Matter of fact, this is a Papa Roach tour sampler. But for something that I'm giving money to you for, and it was so weird because the price went up, but what you got was less. I could be wrong here, but from what I can remember, the price with shipping was $32. Adjusted for inflation, that's $41.31. And this was what you got. Seems like kind of a dip. However, the CD was that good that we said, okay, you know what? The price went up, but this stuff here is still, the content we got was still cool. And they even started their own YouTube series that I think was for members only. And people were excited about the future of Linkin Park, because if this was the direction they were going to go, we could not wait to hear it. And then it came time for Project Revolution 2007. And I did get to meet them again through all the work I did through the street team. I actually got accepted back then. But one of the things I remember about that year was Mindless Self-Indulgence. That was they were a lot of fun to see. Just Jimmy Urine and Steve Raw and and the other members, like, they're like this wacky synthetic pop punk band. But my God, they were just so much fun to see live. I remember Jimmy Urine actually snagged some kid's cell phone, and he actually started calling the kid's mom, and he's waiting for him to pick up, like, is your mom banging your dad or something? What's going on? He answers, your son's being eaten by zombies! And he holds the phone to the crowd, and the entire crowd starts screaming into the phone. They headlined the second stage, and my God, that was just so much fun. And I remember Julian Gay was there, which featured, Ryan Shuck from Orgy. That was fantastic. And that was also the year when you could actually buy a recording, an audio recording of the show you were just at. You would spend $10, you would get this little CD code, wait 3 days after the show, and then the show would be uploaded onto some website. You enter the code, you download the tracks, and you would put it on your iPod. Yeah, we still had iPods back then. We didn't quite go to the iPhone. And Linkin Park actually had 3 different set lists. And so it was meant to kind of, keep things interesting, make a surprise for people. So you never knew which one you were going to get. And when all the albums came out, everyone's like, trading, seeing who got set list A, who got set list B, who got set list C. It was cool. I actually have all 3 set lists on CD. It was so cool because, like, hey, like, I was at this show. Then it came time for year 7's package, and that's when shit was starting to hit the fan. Now, because normally when the CDs always come out, it was like maybe 6 tracks. This time they actually said it was going to be a full 10 tracks. Everybody was excited, and then we found out what the tracks were. The tracks were basically the best of Project Revolution 2007. There was nothing to look forward to. Like, we've heard all this. Guys, we already have this stuff. Okay, we already have live versions of these songs. We have multiple versions of these songs. Some there's not really much of a difference with them. Fans were getting angry. And not only that, but the annual newsletter I showed you, the band said, oh no, we're going to switch to digital. Excuse me? Yeah, fans hated that. Because fans wanted that physical media. They want something, to be shipped to their house so that they have something fun to look forward to in the mail. They said, hold on, no, you can still get a physical version, but it's going to cost you an additional $10. Excuse me? Again, the price was going up and you were getting less. Like, something like that should be included with all of this. And not to mention, like, one of the things you got were shoelaces. Like, honestly, like, that feels like a novelty item because, like I said, shoes are for your feet. They are going to get dirty. There is no point in trying to fancy up your sneakers here. And not to mention, the t-shirt design was just a pair of scissors. What? And fans were, like I said, they were starting to get angry. You could see, I remember seeing it in the forums, like, guys, if you're keeping this up, I'm gonna go. Okay, I am, like, leaving the fan club if this is what you're going to give us here. We paid good money for this. We're getting less. I'm gonna bail. And then suddenly it came for year 8. Basically, the CD was cookies, sweet hamster-like jewels from America. And it was basically what I call the stoner sessions. It feels like Linkin Park just took a bunch of drugs and then hit record. Now, I will say, it was funny. However, for the price that we're paying, no. Okay, something like this should be just like some freebie download on their website. This is not what we wanted. And I think more fans left. They either left or maybe they just did the digital version because at this point, they felt like they were being taken for a ride and not a good one. And then suddenly it came time for year 9. And this is when Linkin Park, I think, was starting to finally snap out of it. Because the CD we got was 9 tracks, and it was the demos. It was what we were promised all those years ago. However, we got less items. So we got the CD, the letter, a guitar pick, a patch, and the shirt. The membership card was gone. The sticker was gone. Newsletter was gone, at least as far as I can remember. Like, we at least got the good songs, but fans were starting to feel like they weren't being heard anymore. And for me, the straw that broke the camel's back was year 10. The price was $60. And the only physical thing you got was a CD. Now, sure, you still had, like, all the online perks. You still had, pre-sale tickets. You still had meet and greets. And they even started something called the LPU Summit. More on that in a little bit. But $60 adjusted for inflation is $71.60. And that's not even including the shipping. And again, that's when they introduced something called the LPU Summit. And fans are going, oh, what's this? And what I understand, it seemed like it was this kind of more in-depth meet and greet. Like, they actually took you through a tour of the venue. You actually got to, be on stage with Linkin Park before the show and, try out some of their instruments. And you would actually get a Q&A with them. It seemed pretty cool. So I remember looking at this going, oh, okay, this is interesting. Is this going to be taking part on every tour? On every tour date? No. When is this happening? Just once. Where? In the UK. Are you going to buy my ticket? No. Then I'm done. This is it. I made one last post on there saying, guys, there's been a serious disconnect between you and your fans, and unless this changes, I am not coming back for this. I was going to let my membership run out. And I remember that's also when Linkin Park released 1,000 Suns, their first polarizing album. Now, for me personally, I didn't really care much for that album. I didn't hate it, but they certainly have its defenders, and if you love that album, then hey, more power to you. I am not going to take away your fun. Because there are, some things to like about it, but it just didn't do anything for me, and I, to this day, do not own that album. And by the time the tour cycle for that ended, I think Linkin Park realized that maybe they got a bit too experimental with that, because there was an article that hinted at that maybe they did. And until I knew that Linkin Park's sound was back on track, or back to something that I thoroughly enjoyed, I was not going to rejoin. And then suddenly they released Living Things. And when I first heard Burn It Down, I was getting excited. Look, this sounds familiar. I can't wait. I may renew my membership if the album is this good. The album gets released and it's okay. It's certainly not bad. There's songs in there I still listen to this day. But it wasn't enough for me to renew my membership. Then came The Hunting Party. Oh my god, I love that album. Sure, it wasn't the nu metal sound or style, but it was still a sound that I could get behind. I just went, oh my god, like, Linkin Park, like, this sounds great! And I still remember one of the promotions they did for that album was they actually did a show on the Warped Tour. Think about that for a second. A band of Linkin Park stature, a band that could actually sell an amphitheater, quite possibly an arena, was going to play on a dinky little side stage. Granted, it was just for one show, but still. Remember that there was actually reports of fans waiting up by that particular stage for 6 hours. Because you have to remember something here. When you are at an amphitheater and you're down from the main stage, there's maybe 10 or 15 feet of gap between you and the band's up maybe 8 feet higher than you. But this was more personal. This was more up close and in your face and intimate. And if I remember, Jeremy McKinnon from A Day to Remember joined them on stage. Matter of fact, a lot of bands on that tour joined them on stage. That is a show I wish I could have attended. Because to actually go from having this huge production behind you down to something that small does take balls. Okay, because you no longer have a huge production to hide behind. And I said, oh my god, this is so cool. If the next album like this is going to be better, because I had to know that this wasn't a fluke, I will rejoin the underground. Then it happened. The band released One More Light.